print disability, which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Michelle, and for the next hour I'll be reading from the April 19th issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Cover story: Bob, Unlikely Hero, Bob Odenkirk, by Josh Rottenberg. L.A. Bob Odenkirk knows that what kind of action star he is, and maybe more importantly, isn't. At 63, less than 5 years removed from a heart attack that nearly ended his life, the actor understands exactly what his body is capable of. He can't do high spinning kicks or elaborate gymnastics. He can't dodge 30 punches in a row. He's the same age as Tom Cruise, but you're not going to see him hanging off the wing of a plane or sprinting across rooftops, Mission Impossible style. Tom Cruise is just in better shape than me, Odenkirk says, over Zoom from New York in the gravely matter-of-fact Midwestern cadence that has carried him from his 90s all-comedy sketch series Mr. Show through his Emmy-winning turn as Saul Goodman on Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and into films like The Post and Nebraska. I mean, he can do things I can't sell. What Odenkirk can sell is his unlikely turn as a suburban dad with a violent past in the 2021 sleeper hit Nobody, and last year's sequel Nobody 2, made clear as something more specific and in its way a lot more interesting. He can show you what it looks like when your neighbor, a guy who could be teaching an intro to business class at night school, is capable of lethal violence. He can be likable and funny while doing it. There's a certain kind of fighting that I can do that fits my face and my body type, Odenkirk explains. I can play a guy who's just going to wear the other person down. He's going to do the simplest moves he can find, and they're going to be hard and they're going to hurt. That's what I can do. If it wasn't already clear that Odenkirk isn't your conventional action star, his new film, Normal, should seal the deal. In theaters Friday, after a strong reception at SXSW last month, the genre-scrambling, darkly comic neo-western casts him as Ulysses, a principled small-town sheriff who takes a temporary posting in a sleepy corner of Minnesota called Normal. Haunted by a failed marriage and a past case that ended badly, he arrives hoping for a quiet stint and instead stumbles into a mystery involving his dead predecessor and a town whose friendly residents are suspiciously armed to the teeth and sitting on an enormous amount of wealth. As he starts to pull at the thread, Ulysses finds himself up against not just the entire community, but improbably, given the setting, the Yakuza. Indie distributor Magnolia's biggest theatrical push to date, opening on approximately 2,000 screens, Normal has enough over-the-top violence and elaborately choreographed kills to satisfy anyone coming for carnage. But for Odenkirk, it was the prospect of a slow burn that appealed to him, with the first stretch in plays closer to Fargo before the mayhem ramps up to almost cartoonish proportions. I'm not racing to get my dance card full, he says, almost as an aside. I might be retired. After letting the thought hang a moment, he smiles and shakes his head. I don't think so. Nobody quit show business. There's a version of Odenkirk's next phase that's easy to imagine. A late career run of durable, increasingly grim action roles. The kind that has kept actors like Liam Neeson working steadily into their 70s. But Odenkirk sounds less interested in settling into that groove than in reshaping it. I understand that the audience goes to see weapons and death and gore, he says. But for me, I got to be careful how much of that I put into the world. One possibility he's been actively discussing was Kolstad, pushes in almost the opposite direction, inspired by a mutual love of Jackie Caan. Those early Jackie Caan films are really Buster Keaton-ish, very likable, not bloody, he says. This would be PG, essentially. You could even say G-rated. There will be no blood in it. It's doing clever fighting that makes you smile and laugh. And if Normal succeeds at the box office, he's already thinking about where Ulysses might go next. Odenkirk and Kolstad have begun kicking around ideas for extending the character into an ongoing franchise. There's no character I've ever done that I feel as close to, he says. With Saul and even with Nobody, slipping into that guy's skin is a little challenging. This guy is a lot less challenging, and I like playing him, so I can imagine resuming his story. Music. An evening at the Sportsman's. Juno Award-winning Canadian singer, songwriter, and guitarist Sue Foley brought her Texas-inspired brand of blues to the Sportsman's Tavern on April 11th as part of her One Guitar Woman tour. Foley was nominated last year for Best Traditional Blues Album and has shared the stage of blues legends like B.B. King and Buddy Guy. Pictures. Sue Foley and guitarists playing at the Sportsman's Tavern. For more photos, see the BuffaloNews.com gallery of photos. Things to do. Cherry Blossom Festival. An Evening with John Legend by Tony Roberto. In Japan, this time of year is called the Hanami season, a celebration of the short time, 7 to 10 days, that the cherry blossoms are in bloom. Hana means flower, and mai means to look. The fleeting beauty is symbolic of the Japanese, who celebrate the blossom's short life with outdoor parties, complete with food and culture. In Washington, D.C., the celebration drew 1.6 million people in 2025. We're lucky that we can stay at home to enjoy our own colorful festival. This year marks the 13th annual Buffalo Cherry Blossom Festival, taking place in and outside the Buffalo History Museum, throughout the nearby Japanese Garden and Delaware Park, around Mirror Lake, from 11 to 3 Saturday and next Sunday. Activity tables inside the museum will have information about bonsai, folk dolls, origami, and Kanazawa, Buffalo's sister city in Japan. Music is Art hosts 3 stages of live music, including taiko drums with JGB, shibuki, Japanese jazz fusion with Stevie B, and folk dancing. Stroll through the gardens to enjoy the blossoms throughout Cherry Tree Grove. At Mirror Lake, you can ride one of the pink boats. You can also visit multiple vendors, nonprofits, and food trucks. 2 sessions of the popular Japanese tea tasting with Atsuko Nishida Mitchell will be held April 28th. For tickets to that and more info on the festival, visit BuffaloCherryBlossomFestival.org. John Legend, 8 p.m. Wednesday in Shays Buffalo Theater. On his current tour celebrating the 20th anniversary of his Grammy-winning album, Get Lifted, John Legend is lifting fans with personal and inspirational stories behind his songs. You'll hear how he grew up in a Pentecostal church where he sang in the choir, about his family, including his grandfather, a pastor, and his grandmother, the church organist, who introduced him to playing the piano. His 2-hour concert, called Personal and Polished in recent reviews, mixes songs from Get Lifted with selections from throughout his career and life going back his childhood, along with tunes with his collaborators, including The Roots, Alicia Keys, and Baile. Wigs, Wings, and Wild Things. Noon to 4 today, Sunday, at Spotted Octopus, 41 Edward Street. Local bars and breweries have been the place to go for interesting events. This one is a 30-year costume retrospective by Kenneth Shaw that helps the Against All Odds Animal Alliance. Shaw has been the head of design for the Theater of Youth Company since 1995, where he has designed scenery and costumes for more than 100 productions. Shaw won the Artie Award for Outstanding Design 12 times, and his credits also include the Irish Classical Theatre and Shakespeare in the Park. Tickets are $25 with all profits going to Against All Odds Animal Alliance. Off-script Sundays with Jeff Myers, 4 to 7 today, Sunday, at Penny Lane, Main Street, Clarence. Former Buffalo News pop music critic Jeff Myers continues to support the music community through events. This is the newest one, and it lives up to its name by gathering musicians from various genres and generations who perform off-script as they improvise with each other. This first event features what Myers calls the Killer, young jazz-based ensemble O'Shai, and the public debut of OWMN, Oliver Wind Myers Nogo. Expect some spontaneous ensemble jams. The series continues one Sunday a month at Penny Lane. Tickets are $10. Party for the Planet, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday at the Buffalo Zoo, Parkside Avenue. Local environmental and conservation groups will be at the zoo to share how we can be more earth-friendly. Enjoy meet and greets with animal ambassadors and talks with the keepers. These events are included in regular zoo admission. Full zoo hours are 10 to 5. K-Pop Fest, 10 to 5 Saturday, Explore and More, the Ralph Wilson Children's Museum, Main Street. Gather your K-pop fans or any kid who loves fun. This day at the museum includes multiple activities included in regular admission, including face painting and hair braiding, K-pop character visits, and a WOW party performance, and a local vendors. A silent disco at 3 is a separate cost, $25 to $41. Quick calendar. Band of Horses celebrating 20 years of Everything All the Time, 7 p.m. tonight, Sunday, at the Electric City, Pearl Street. Lamb of God into the Oblivion, 5:30 Tuesday, Buffalo River Works, Ganson Street. Lloyd Cole, 7 p.m. Thursday, Town Ballroom. Botanical Artesian Market, 5 p.m. Friday in the Buffalo and Erie County Botanical Gardens, South Park Avenue. Collaboration 6 Festival, 1 p.m. Saturday at the Powerhouse on Lee Street. A Night of Harmony, Alex MacArthur, Megan Brown, Grace Stumberg, Sue Kincaid, and Grace Logan, 8 to 11, Saturday at the Cave, Military Road. Cat Show and Expo, 9 to 4, Saturday and next Sunday, in the Grange and Marketplace buildings at the Hamburg Fairgrounds. Just announced, Sombra with Dove, Cameron, and Hannah Jadago, 7 p.m. November 14th, KeyBank Center. Branford Marsalis and Diane Reeves celebrate the ballads of John Coltrane, 7 p.m. April 22nd, Kleinhans Music, April 22nd, 2027, Kleinhans Music Hall. 38 Special 50-Year Legacy Tour, 8 p.m. August 28th in the Seneca Niagara Casino, Niagara Falls Event Center. Lady A, 8 p.m. August 28th in the Seneca Niagara Casino, Niagara Falls. Board Teachers is a Friday Yet Comedy Hour, 7:30 October 24th, Shays Buffalo Theater. Kurt Vile and the Violators with Twisted Teens, 8 p.m. November 4th in the Ashbury Hall, Badeville. Postponed. Barry Manilow concert originally scheduled for April 22nd at KeyBank Center has been postponed due to health reasons. New date will be announced. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the April 19th issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. West Herd Riviera Theater. Romeo Delight, just announced. Romeo Delight, October 30th. Hotel California, November 12th, 13, and 14. Upcoming events. John Wayne, April 25th. Mighty Wurlitzer Concert featuring Peter DeGioia, April 27th. Peter DeGioia and Mark Nowinski, April 27th. Love Sexy, tribute to Prince, May 8th. Rush, May 15 and 16. The American Ride, Kobe Keith tribute, May 22nd. Starry Night, Dan McLean, May 28th. Smells Like Nirvana, May 29th. Like Combs, tribute to Luke Combs, May 30th. Tapestry, Carole King Songbook, June 5th. Awaken, The Music of Yes, June 6th. Linger, The Cranberries, June 13th. Land of Oz, tribute to Ozzy Osbourne, June 19th. Burlesque, starring Danny Diesel and Friends, June 27th. Streaming. Movies. Sadie Sandler, eldest daughter of Adam, is starring in the new Netflix comedy Roommates about a college freshman and her boundaryless dormmate Chloe East, played by Chloe East. Nick Kroll and Natasha Lyonne play her parents in a cast that also includes Francesca Scorsi, Carol Kane, Storm Reed, streaming on April 17th. A young girl, played by Sophie Sloan, hires her hitman neighbor, played by Mads Mikkelsen, to kill the monsters she thinks ate her family in the R-rated Dust Bunny. The debut featured from Hannibal series creator Brian Fuller. The film, streaming on HBO Max starting April 17th, got generally good reviews, with Manola Dargis writing in the New York Times that it is a blast of delightful, visually sumptuous nonsense. Edgar Wright's new take on Stephen King's dystopian 1982 novel, The Running Man, starring Glenn Powell, will be streaming on Prime Video on April 17th. Music. It has been exactly 10 years since Zayn Malik became the first member of One Direction to release a solo record. His 2016 album, Mind of Mine, was declaration of autonomy for the young performer, ambitious R&B tracks from a strong singer known for his breathy falsetto. He was playing to his strengths then and has continued to do so in the decade that followed. On April 17th, that arrives with the release of Kanoko, his fifth full-length record. Brooklyn-based R&B soul singer-songwriter Yaya Bay is on a roll. Just last year, she released Do It Afraid, an album full of surprises. Merlot and Grigio featured Bajan dancehall artist Father Phyllis. The dancey Dream Girl had echoes of Prince and Raisins, was jazzy. The sense of experimentation is also found on Fidelity on April 17th. It's a cathartic collection, an expression of grief and love following the death of her father. the Reverend rapper, producer, and Juicy Crew member Granddaddy IU. He's one of the biggest names on the planet to the contemporary electronic dance music fan in your life. The house superstar John Summit will release Control Escape on April 17th via Experts Only and Darkroom Records. It's an equal opportunity record, one for the ravers and those who prefer to watch Ultra Music Festival performances on YouTube from the comfort of their own living room alike. Streaming series. In the Apple TV dramedy Margot's Got Money Troubles, Ellie Fanning plays a young mom who had an affair with a college professor, got pregnant, and is raising the baby on her own. She launches an OnlyFans persona to make money. Michelle Pfeiffer and Nick Offerman play her parents. The series is based on a best-selling novel of the same name and premieres April 15th. Cast members from last summer's iteration of Love Island USA take front and center in the second season of Love Island Beyond the Villa. After returning home from Fiji, cameras resume following the contestants, including winners and former couple Amaya Espinal and Brian Arnells. Guess what? The drama followed them home. The first 2 episodes drop April 15th on Peacock. Netflix critically acclaimed series Beef is back for a second season with a new cast. The show, which was originally intended to be a limited series, is now an anthology. The new episodes star Oscar Isaac, Carey Mulligan, Charles Melton, and Kaylee Spaney. It premieres April 16th. Nicole Coughlin's contemporary dark comedy Big Mood returns April 16th for a second season on Tubi. Coughlin and Lydia West star as Maggie and Eddie, longtime co-defendant best friends living in East London. Their friendship fell apart after Maggie, who suffers from bipolar disorder, decided to stop taking her medication, and Eddie felt increasingly neglected. Season 2 picks up 1 year later. Television. Wanu West documentary provides a makeup call for NBA great. By several accounts of those who knew all-time LA Lakers great Jerry West, the 2023 HBO series Winning Time: The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty committed a flagrant foul against him by depicting him as a depressed personality who was crazy at times. The Prime Video documentary that premiered Thursday, Jerry West, the logo, from writer Kanye Barris, is a history-filled and well-deserved makeup call that should be cheered by every lifelong NBA fan. The documentary apparently has been sitting around for some time, since a significant part of it is a one-on-one interview Barris conducted with West before his 2024 death at age 85. There also are interviews with several former Lakers, including Shaquille O'Neal, Pat Riley, James Worthy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Mitch Kupchak, Michael Cooper, and Byron Scott, who were portrayed in Winning Time. The interviews illustrate the respect all NBA players have for West, a white star who played in the league with the majority of black players. While the depiction of West in Winning Time as a miserable human being incapable of happiness apparently was exaggerated, Barris's interview with him reveals that West was a complicated man who had demons that were as much or even more difficult to overcome than a perennial all-star than the Boston Celtics. It traces back to West's childhood in a small West Virginia mining town where he was physically abused by his father and had difficulty handling the death of his older brother David, who was killed in the Korean War. Basketball, the one sport that a lonely, scrawny kid could play by himself with a ball and a basket nearby, was West's refuge. And he was damn good at it. He didn't realize how good he was. As it details West's history, the documentary doubles as a history of the NBA that is bound to appeal to basketball fans like me, who are nostalgic for the days the league was underfunded and underappreciated. The black and white file footage of West as a standout high school and college player at West Virginia University, where he wore number 44, gives the documentary a nostalgic quality, even before West details how the NBA was treated in the 1960s, 2 decades before its popularity surged. The pain West suffered is incalculable, through 6 losses to the Celtics and 2 to the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals before the Lakers finally won. The losses overwhelmed the magic individual moments for West, including one of my biggest memories growing up as a Knicks fan. West hitting a 55-foot shot against the Knicks to send the game in the NFL Finals into overtime, which the Lakers eventually lost, and being named the final MVP in 1969 when the Lakers lost to the Celtics. The losses to the Celtics stayed with him forever. In one poignant moment, one of his sons recalled that West planned to take him to a Lakers game in Boston Garden, but was so traumatized by the losses to the Celtics that he told his son he couldn't attend a game in the building. There are several other poignant moments in the film, which documents risks that the obsessive West took evaluating talent as the Lakers general manager to start a couple of dynasties. They included working out 17-year-old Kobe Bryant before drafting him with a pick acquired by trading popular Lakers center Vlade Divac. Rod Thorne, a West Virginia University star who became an NBA player and executive, recalled West telling him, "Bryant is the best player I've ever worked out." Bryant became one of the NBA's greatest stars, validating the trade. Divac, who eventually became general manager of the Sacramento Kings, cracked, "When I became a general manager, I would trade myself for Kobe Bryant." In another controversial West trade, he sent popular guard Norm Nixon to the San Diego Clippers for Byron Scott to complete the Lakers' version of Showtime. West was a genius, evaluating talent, except his own. As an NBA executive or consultant, he helped develop the Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, the Memphis Grizzlies, and LA Clippers. He gets to correct the record on claims that he wanted to draft Arkansas guard Sidney Moncrief over Magic Johnson, saying that was made up by a sports writer. He became very close to Magic and several players, many who reversed him. 2 of the toughest days in West's life involved his star players. He was devastated when Magic Johnson learned he was HIV positive, and West became a significant part of the star's support system. West also was devastated that Brian and his daughter Gianna died in a helicopter crash and wasn't sure he could ever get over it. "It was the saddest day of my life," said West. "I lost a brother in Korea. It's the only thing that compares this to me." Michael Jordan, who was just as devastated, said, "We became each other's comfort zone to get through it all." There is one uncomfortable moment in the film. Barris, who's more of a fan than a journalist, is granted an interview with Lakers owner Jeannie Buss at the end of the film. The interview comes after legendary coach George Raveling, who died last September, said history will show the Lakers' biggest mistake was allowing Jerry to get away. You expect Jeannie Buss to clear up the circumstances that led her father, Jerry Buss, to allow West to depart the Lakers as general manager. But Barris never asked in a way that would get an answer. Near the end of the film, Barris does ask NBA Commissioner Adam Silver to validate something that the NBC officials declined to verify for decades. Is the NBA logo based on a Jerry West photo, as designer Alan Siegel has said? Silver confirms it. The follow-up question is, how would West feel about it? I think there's a part of him is very proud, says former Lakers trainer Gary Vitti, but he's not that kind of person who would go around and say, that's me. I suspect if West were alive to see the logo, he would look at the entire complicated portrait and say, unlike the character in Winning Time, that's me. Books. Erdrich's latest Python Kiss took decades to finish, by Eric Peterson. Louise Erdrich was getting help with her computer when her daughter discovered something on the hard drive. A short story. Love of my days was a forgotten file in my computer, and when I found it again, I was shocked, Erdrich recalls, crediting her daughter for unearthing the piece about a man who returns to his prairie farm to find someone else there, claiming the place is his. I know I wrote this. I remember that I wrote it. I just forgot the file. That story appears with 12 others in Python's Kiss, a collection of the National Book Award and Pulitzer Prize winning author. In stores now. Representing 2 decades of work, the book's stories range from literary fiction to sci-fi with effortlessly engaging storytelling, whether about a bus full of children in a blizzard or a daughter seeking revenge on her late father in a corporately controlled afterlife. Ann Patchett, the best-selling author of Bel Canto, Tom Lake, and the upcoming Whistler, praised Python's Kiss during an interview recently. How good is that book, said Patchett, my heart just soars. Erdrich, who owns Birch Bark Books and Native Arts in Minneapolis, was asked about the recent deployment of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, into the city, which sent thousands of masked agents onto its streets, sparked protests by citizens and local officials, and led to the shooting deaths of Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy by ICE agents. Calling ICE actions murderous and grotesque, Erdrich directed the conversation toward the good works her neighbors and community have done throughout. I think it's hard for other cities to imagine how small and closely knit Minneapolis and St. Paul really are, said Erdrich, praising the work of local businesses and bookstores, such as the Smitten Kitten, Moon Palace Books, and Dream Haven Books. We're engaging in a huge amount of mutual aid in support of people who still can't come out of their houses and kids who still can't go to school. It's good that we have so many good people here, but it shouldn't be this way. It's just wrong. Warm, thoughtful, and funny throughout a nearly 90-minute conversation, Erdrich, an enrolled citizen of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians of North Dakota, discussed her work, family, and challenges of writing. Books. April reads 5 notable titles arriving on shelves this month by Chris Hewitt. There's good news and bad news on the Anthony Horowitz book that's hitting store and library shelves this spring. The good news is that his annual satiric mystery is almost here. The bad for some fans will be that it's not the long-awaited 4th title in the series he kicked off with Magpie Murders. He has said he has an idea for Mile End Murders, but has not begun writing it. Horowitz, A Deadly Episode, is just one of the books we can't wait to read in April, which also include new poetry and another mystery that comes with Stephen King's Imprimatur. A Deadly Episode by Anthony Horowitz.
Fans loved the Susan Ryland mysteries, which began with Magpie Murders and have been the basis of 2 PBS shows, with a third, Marble Hall Murders, on the way. But A Deadly Episode is the 6th in the other popular series from Horowitz, who loves to bury mysteries within mysteries. That series features a private detective named Daniel Hawthorne, who's assisted and sometimes hindered by a fictional version of Horowitz. If that sounds complicated, wait until you hear the plot of the new one. A movie's being made of The Word is Murder, first book in the Hawthorne and Horowitz series. But production shuts down when the actor playing Hawthorne is murdered. But was the actor the target, or was Hawthorne? Premieres April 28th. Comes out April 28th. The Ending Writes Itself by Evelyn Clark. Endorsements don't come much more enthusiastic than Stephen King for this debut thriller, which he compares to Agatha Christie and proclaims already in the running for Best Mystery of 2026. Debut is a bit of a misnomer, since Evelyn Clark actually is a collaboration between Vets Cat Clark and V.E. Schwab. Ending is very meta. A top thriller writer invites 6 down-on-their-luck colleagues to Spooky Island. That island might remind you of Christie's And Then There Were None. When they arrive, they learn their more famous peer is dead, and that one of them will have the opportunity to finish his first novel. If they live to put pen to paper. Out now. Fame is Sick by Lena Dunham. Rowdy is the first word our publisher uses to describe the Emmy Award nominee memoir about the period when she was creating, writing, directing, and starring in HBO's beloved reviled series Girls. On Instagram, Dunham said she began writing Fame Sick when she was just 30 days out of rehab, and that title doesn't exactly promise a bed of roses. So expect the book to be as raw, complicated, and funny as her show often was. The memoir only covers the 2010 to 2020 years, so there won't be anything about, for instance, her excellent film starring Bella Ramsey, Catherine Called Brady, out now. Liddy by Jane Smiley. The Pulitzer Prize winner for 1,000 Acres returns to historical fiction with a tale set on the eve of the Civil War. The title character is a high-spirited widow who, grieving her husband, agrees to accompany her niece Annie on a trip to England. There, Annie becomes an acclaimed actor with the help of an enigmatic benefactor. Early readers of Liddy's, a sequel to the 1998 novel The All-True Travels and Adventures of Liddy Newton, have applauded its depiction of Victorian Liverpool, an evocation of the writing style of Little Women author Louisa May Alcott, out April 21st. Visitations by Julia Alvarez, the prolific novelist and essayist's first poetry collection since The Woman I Kept to Myself 15 years ago. Visitations revisits themes from her bestsellers In the Time of the Butterflies and How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accents, but this time in verse. The poems loosely trace her journey from her childhood in the Dominican Republic through her family's adaptation to a new life when they moved to America and on to the present, when Alvarez is a National Medal of Arts recipient and the subject of an episode of PBS American Masters. P.S. April is National Poetry Month. Out April 28th. Television. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the April 19th issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News. Television. New West documentary provides a makeup call for NBA great. Oops. Taste. Seven Brew has coffee, but it's far from your typical cafe. Restaurant notes. Seven Brew is not a coffee shop. Sure, someone orders a black coffee from Seven Brew a couple of times a day. Usually more so older people, said 19-year-old Seven Brew barrister Aubrey Monroe. But coffee shops have tables and chairs, at least historically. Seven Brew has no seating. It's a drive-through and walk-up only. Seven Brew is not an ice cream stand. It serves milkshakes, but that's not its main thing. It's not a bubble shop. It's not a fast food restaurant. Seven Brew is its own thing, and it grows exponentially. The number of Seven Brew locations has nearly doubled since early 2025 and spreads throughout Buffalo. It brings the region into the once simple coffee's next evolutionary stage. The American coffee shop of the 1990s and 2000s had its bulletin boards and open mics. Then the coffee shop of the 2010s saw laptops take over the tables. Seven Brew is the coffee shop of the 2020s, an era of door-dashing, drive-thruing, and customizable drinks. It came to Buffalo in December. Brewtopia, the Cleveland-based franchise that is opening Buffalo Brew's Seven Brew locations, plans to operate 10 locations in western New York. So far, there are Seven Brews in Amherst, on Maple Road, and Lockport, Niagara Falls Boulevard, Niagara Falls, and South Transit Road, Lockport. Seven Brew is also planning locations in Cheektowaga and Hamburg. Though there is no seating, a trip to Seven Brew is social in its own modern way. The workers are trained to connect with customers during the minute or two they spend together. The main Seven Brew philosophy is to cultivate kindness. We want everyone to leave here joyful, said Jesse Billinghurst, director of new stand openings for Brewtopia. Seven Brew barristers are upbeat and make small talk. They pet your dog through the window and offer free pup cups. I like to be happy and bubbly at work, said Michaela Fisitelli, a former Starbucks barrister who's now manager at Lockport's Seven Brew. Here at Seven Brew, that's what we stand for. There's no yawning in the land of caffeine. It's also vaguely club-like. On a recent cloudless morning, Seven Brew barristers danced to Pink Panther-ness and shot their hands in the air for Beyonce's Single Ladies. While clubby songs boomed from outdoor speakers, Seven Brew workers took orders and cashed out each customer at their car window, Chick-fil-A style. Seven Brew drinks like a Starbucks peppermint mocha or a Tim Hortons double-double follow their own language. Seven Brew says it can make over 20,000 flavor combinations. When we get like a basic drink, I'm surprised, Cicely said. I've had people literally show me Tic-Tac videos that I've had to watch and decode. The people that know what they want just rattle it off, but I do like when I get to watch the Tic-Tac videos and see how the other barristers make it, because it kind of helps us with a visual as well. When they're like, can I get the SpongeBob drink? And you're like, what is that? Seven Brew has a menu of official drinks. None of them come with prices. The Blondie is a brev made with espresso, half and half, vanilla syrup, and caramel sauce. The Sweet and Salty is also a breve, espresso, and a half and half, but with salted caramel syrup and white chocolate sauce. Cookie butter, another popular brev, is made with white chocolate sauce, hazelnut, toasted marshmallow syrup. Each drink is completely customizable, so they can all be used as starting recipes. Half and half can become oat milk. Each one can be 1/4 as sweet or extra sweet. You can top each drink with cream or cold foam, maybe add a caramel drizzle. That's just the coffee. 7 Brew's energy drinks, which are just as customizable, are also popular. Pixie Stick is a combination of 7 Brew's carbonated energy drink base with almond, orange, and pomegranate syrups. Then there are the 7 Fizz sodas, peaches and cream mixes with peach and vanilla syrup with cream. Lemonade, the blended key lime pie, includes lemonade, lime syrup, and white chocolate sauce. Milkshakes, tea, chai lattes, matcha lattes, and smoothies. After petting a dachshund in her customer's vehicle, Cecilia Perry, a photographer and part-time 7 Brew Lockport barrister with a high ponytail, told the customer she could add literally any kind of flavor to their drink. "So you want mango, strawberry, watermelon?" Perry asked. "I'm here for it." After they tip, Perry responds gorgeous and carries her iPad to the next vehicle. Restaurant news. Several restaurants, including Black and Blue, Steak and Crab, Ula Bowls, and Just Salad, will open in Sheridan Drive's Station 12 project beginning in October, as the Buffalo Sabres kick off their first round of playoff games in 15 years. Local restaurants and bars look forward to watch parties. Food events. 6 chefs will compete at a Chopped-inspired fundraiser, Westside Chops for Westside Community Services, from 5:30 to 8, April 29th at Forbes Theater, 500 Pearl Street. The chefs, which include Delaware North Stephen Foreman and the Buffalo's AKG Stephanie Balk, was used ingredients typically found at the nonprofit's food pantry. Attendees will receive a sample plate of food from each chef. Winners will be selected by judges and attendees. There will also be a bar, a raffle, and a silent auction. Tickets are $100, $150 for VIP. Perfect pairings. Classic spring ingredients shine when partnered with delicious creamy burrata by Jean Marie Brownson. Taste. Gardeners itch for spring weather to get outside and plant. Cooks like myself prefer to stay inside and whip up foods loaded with classic spring ingredients and flavors. Vegetables such as new potatoes, peas, and asparagus. Tender chive stalks and mint sprigs as soon as they appear in the garden, followed by cilantro on everything. Tie all those harbingers of spring together with bright sunshine lemon. Most lemons in this country come from California, where they are harvested nearly year-round, which means this aromatic, tangy fruit can be used in abundance to lend its sweet tart character to almost anything. Consider a tall glass of ice water with a squeeze of lemon and a gently crushed mint sprig while you cook. Pair all of that spring goodness with the timeless indulgence of rich, creamy burrata cheese, and indeed, life is good. Burrata resembles fresh mozzarella, and that it is soft, fresh, and soul-packed in brine. Gently remove the ball from the brine so it doesn't split open until you're ready. Once split, the rich and creamy interior will spill out of its tender mozzarella shell, perfect for scooping up with bread. Surround the burrito balls with lemon slices that have been sauteed with aromatic coriander seeds, a bit of chili, and plenty of artichoke hearts. Drizzle all the flavorful pan liquids over the cheese, then break it open to scoop it out into sliced bread. Serve this casual appetizer with a glass of cold rosé. Alternately, break open a ball of burrata over a bowl full of peas, asparagus, and pasta for light, fresh springtime eating. I like to start this meal with a French 75 cocktail, fresh lemon juice, gin, simple syrup, and chilled sparkling wine. It's perfect sipping while we wait for the first garden daffodils and hyacinths to grace the table. You have been listening to a reading of articles and features from the April 19th issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News. Your reader has been Michelle. Thank you for listening.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have the front section of the Sunday Times. At 2 o'clock, we have the New York Times Opinion section. And at 3 o'clock, we have the New York Times Arts and Leisure section. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. If you're listening to this publication online, you're probably using our website, a podcast player like Spotify or iTunes, a streaming service like Siro, or a smart speaker. Did you know that we now have a dedicated app that can be downloaded to any mobile device, like a smartphone or tablet, for free? App users can conveniently access our live stream and any episode of our podcasts easier than ever. To download the app, just type NFRRS in the search window in the Apple App Store or in the Google Play Store. Contact us anytime if you have any questions by calling 716-821-5555, extension 5. Thank you. You're listening to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. As of this year, our agency has broadcast more than 300,000 hours of radio readings. Volunteer radio readers read newspapers, magazines, and books to area people who are blind or have a print disability, who are provided reading radios. Radio Reading's broadcast signal is provided at no charge by WNED. Radio Reading broadcasts from studios at 1199 Harlem Road in suburban Buffalo. Please let others know about Radio Reading. It's your service. For more information on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, call 716-821-5555. following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability, which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page